the future, energy and climate change are increasingly becoming vital factors in driving energy prices higher. They are spurring competition for resources, igniting public and private investment in alternative energies, and challenging the relentless growth of energy demand, particularly in emerging economies like India. In order to mitigate climate change, we cannot leave the dispersal and proliferation of clean energy technologies to market forces and commercial interests alone. Otherwise, clean technologies will not be affordable or accessible to those countries which need energy most and are the fastest growing. Another challenge for us is that climate change monitors expect developing countries to decouple energy consumption and growth. But developing countries like India want mechanisms that will help them shape economies that are emissions free without at the same time hampering their development and poverty reduction goals. This would entail vast investments in technology as well as of funding to seed alternative energy initiatives. It would also require establishing an innovative financial tool that could leverage funds for adoption of clean energy projects, and that is where we need global cooperation. Therefore, the greatest challenge for the global community is to foster understanding between and among energy producers and consumers. And this understanding must be built on the premise that mutual interdependence should be at the heart of the new global energy dynamic. To wean the global economy from oil, gas, and coal, two generations of talent and technology will be needed. One way or other, though new demand patterns and alternative and renewable sources will eventually come to reign, in practice, a license to operate will go to those who develop the next generation of clean applications, including oil, coal, and gas. The paramount challenge we face is how to arrive there safely without a turmoil in international affairs and in the energy markets. All this we have witnessed in the last year more particularly. Further on the human resource front, I believe that we can reinforce our competitive advantage by training the next generation of energy workers. I understand that the average age of workers in the energy industry is in the range of 46 to 49, full 10 years older than in most other industries, and the majority of the skilled workers will retire within the next decade. In fact, to this also I was talking with Mr. Behodia before we walked in, and how the global dynamics in terms of human resource had changed. In the last 10 years, the last priority was for anybody to go into anything but financial services or IT. And the best talent would always get diverted there, and anything else, right from construction to mechanics to oil exploration, would get relegated to the last seat. So this was the change, and therefore it's going to be a big challenge, especially when you are talking of energy security and moving away from the existing old traditional workforce. We will have to make collective efforts to create an enormous knowledge pool and replenish the pool with skilled energy workers. Ultimately, the way forward for both producers and consumers of energy must be mutual interdependence. The challenge of change created by the convergence of climate change and energy independence is upon all the global players. The key is creating the framework for understanding that sets out the balance of interests that translate into mutual interdependence and trust. I expect that through such international conferences, we advocate and recommend common development through sharing of cleaner technologies. Developed countries should contribute to sustainable development by providing the requisite funding support for development of cleaner technologies in the public domain for adoption in developing countries. Friends, the nature of energy business is such that we are not talking of tomorrow or the next month or even the next year. Large investments can take decades to bear fruit. Reductions in greenhouse gases will change nothing overnight, but that doesn't change the fact that the energy we use currently is difficult and an unsustainable one. Energy independence will come only through multilateral agreements, multiple cooperation across borders, and the commitment of the scientific community. All these efforts must accompany the action to create a global blueprint of energy security for all. So I wish you all the fruitful discussions during the conference. Look forward to the Petrotech conference continuing to play an important role in defining the energy trends for India today, tomorrow, and also for the entire world in the decades to come. I thank you very much, and thank you, Mr. Beharia. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Minister. These concepts of global framework and a long-term vision are, I suppose, going to be some of the important guiding factors in the deliberations that will follow, because that's possibly the way we can move forward and plan for a long-term thing. May I now request Mr. Pepin to give his comments.
Thank you. First of all, I would like to thank the Honourable Minister and our Chairman, Mr. Sengupta, for handing me the stage and allowing me to address such a distinguished audience as we see here today. As was pointed out by the Honourable Minister, recent turmoil, not only in the financial world but also in the real economy, has affected us all recently. And the world at large is looking for solutions. And I'm of the opinion that we are running the risk that in looking for these solutions, that this might lead to reactions that will overshoot the targets. As the recent history and I use the occasion of having the Minister present, as the recent history of Indian aviation has shown, and I personally enjoyed arriving in India on one of the private carriers which is active now, which I consider as one of the best in the skies, even on a global basis. But as that history has shown, one cannot deny the obvious benefits that an open system brings to a marketplace. And I believe that given the right regulatory framework to ensure that the playing field is level to all participants, and moreover, a regulatory framework that ensures that excesses, as we have seen emerging on a global scale recently, that these excesses are avoided, open systems accompanied by natural pricing are like and will continue to be a healthy dose of vitamins to a marketplace. Not only do they create an environment in which efficiency is rewarded to the advantage of the end user, the end consumers, but it should also enable more efficiency to be achieved in public and private corporations. Again, not only to the advantage of the marketplace and its stakeholders, but also to the private and public partners as such. I would like to thank the organizers of Petrotech 2009, and especially Mr. Behuria, Chairman of the Steering Committee, and my fellow IoT Director, Mr. Bankapur, for inviting me to this stage, and I wish all the participants a productive continuation of the conference. Thank you.
The next item is presentation of mementos by Mr. Bankapur. May I request him to come over?
Ladies and gentlemen, I now request Mr. Behuria, the Chairman of Indian Oil Corporation, to kindly do the honors of presenting mementos to our distinguished dignitaries on the stage, please. I request a memento to be presented to our Honorable Union Minister of State with independent charge for civil aviation, Mr. Praful Patel. Thank you very much, sir, for gracing Petrotech 2009. A memento goes to our chairperson, Mr. Prabir Sengupta. Thank you very much, sir, for being here with us. And a memento goes to Mr. Goose Pippin. Thank you very much indeed for being here with us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Behuria, for doing the honors.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sorry?
Come.
Chairman, the chairman,
Come. Behuria, without you, why, what is the...
The picture will not be complete.
You are here, we are here because of you. Thank you, sir. Come.
Come here.
Let's give all our distinguished dignitaries a huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. With that, ladies and gentlemen, we conclude theme session 3, and we have concluded on time. We have a 15-minute short tea break, and we have quite a few interesting sessions ahead of us. So kindly be back for all our interesting sessions. Plenary session 4 will be beginning at 10 o'clock. Plenary session 5 is from 12:15 to 12:30. We have a special interactive group meeting between 2:30 to 4, a special ministerial session from 2 to 5:30. Ladies and gentlemen, kindly be back here within the next 10 minutes for the commencement of plenary session 4. Thank you very much for being here with us.